That's so weird. It's like someone telling you what kind of underpants you should have on or something. It's like, it's my butt.
Hi, I'm Samantha, and this is One Nightstand with Bustle, where we chat with our guests about their 4 favorite books. Today we have Jenny Slate. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for having me.
I devoured Lifeform last week, and I have to say, I loved it. And I mean the next thing I'm about to say incredibly complimentary. Mm-hmm. I was like, I really wish I related to this less. Like, especially the earlier chapters of your single years.
Yeah. So this is called Single and Waiting for a Reply. My friends say that maybe he did not write back because he is very busy. Then I think I'm never too busy for love and starting lives. And then because I do not want it to be a rejection, I think maybe he is busy and that perhaps I do not really know what it is like to be busy. And then I think that perhaps I am not very successful. Maybe I do not know what it is like to be really actually busy, but I think I do know, which of course is dispiriting because it means that he is not more busy than I, which means you know what.
Jenny, I have had every single one of those thoughts in that exact order again and again and again. And I mean, my friends and I used to joke that if a guy wasn't texting us back, we're like, he's in the shower. And like sometimes men in your head, they're just in a shower for like a single year.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's that. The first book we'll start with is Hotel du Lac by Anita Brookner. What made you choose to bring this one today?
I picked this book up on one of those like afternoons many years ago where I was just like dreamy, lovely afternoon, which feels also now like a fantasy because I'm not exactly in this type of lifestyle anymore, where I was just like, I've got an hour. Yeah. I'll just walk around in the bookstore and see what's going on and what I like. And I picked it up after sort of like reading the description about what was like, what was happening in the book, whatever. And this book took me so by surprise, but what is incredibly like resuscitative, yeah, that's a word, right? Yeah, offers resuscitation.
Well, we know what each other are talking about.
Yeah, a moment of resuscitation in the book. Like for me, reading it as at that point, a single person was watching the main character come to an incredibly important and liberating realization. And I don't want to like give too much away, but that book astounded me.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking a lot about isolation as like a through line of your interests and your work. I think when Marcel, the Shell of the film came out, a lot of people assumed you wrote it in the pandemic in response to the pandemic, but didn't you had done the narration like 5 years prior or something?
7 years.
Wow. Yeah. So like isolation was not this like new thing you discovered you were interested in during sheltering in place. Like, why is it such like rich territory for you?
I think part of it is that like I live in a state that could tip into isolation just as often as it can tip into like an overwhelming feeling of deep connection with like everything. I don't know, like cleaning up a beach every morning. Like you can't help the tide. Yeah. It's always going to throw weird stuff up on the beach, but you just have to like clean the beach again and start the day.
I also really loved reading it in conversation with another one of your choices, which was The Hearing Trumpet. Like, I was thinking of that today as like your mini canon of books about exiled women, which I really loved. And then I was also, well, I'll give you a second.
No, keep going. That's so interesting.
No, let's have a beat about that. Let's talk about the mini canon of exiled women.
Well, one of the feelings that I think I feel, especially in seasons of depression, is being exiled in plain sight, being with everyone else but separated, as if I'm in like a plexiglass tube sort of, and I'm allowed to see how beautiful everything is, and I can see it, but I'm like, there's something inside of me or in my mind that says like, yeah, but you're not like with that and you can't be with it. And I'm really fascinated by stories where there are like female characters at the center. It doesn't have to be a female though, but just often I've encountered this framework where for one reason or another she's sort of been put out to pasture, disregarded and disrespected, but in fact she's like highly specific.
Yeah.
In The Hearing Trumpet, the main character is like a an elderly woman in her 90s who is like toothless and has a beard and can't hear anything. And everyone's just like, ugh, get away. And she's like, it doesn't really bother me.
I really was, in addition to reading this one in conversation with Hotel du Lac, reading Lifeform first colored all of these. And I want to talk about the chapter where you write a letter to a doctor about wanting to go full crone and go from 40 to 80 and just skip it all.
Yeah.
What is so attractive about that to you?
I mean, now it's not. And you know what I mean? Yeah. But at the start of the letter, and it's funny because I sent that piece to a friend of mine and she started reading it. And the start of the letter is sort of like, Dear Doctor, is there any way to skip over the bridge of time between 40 and 80? Because, like, you know, the aging process seems just terrible. And, and that everyone would watch me do it and people are really not into it. And, like, why do I have to wait to be old? Like, why do I have to go through this? Can I just be old? And my friend who was reading it was like, Jenny, no. And then she kept reading and she was like, oh, because it does end in the totally opposite position. Totally. But what the letter first discusses is, like, there is such an incessant, obvious and also covert conversation about the draining out of people's worth, especially female people, as you age. And that I have even experienced, like, I'm not just saying, like, this is a general thing, but that, like, for me, there have been times when it makes me feel like I can't even have any privacy, like, even if I'm in the bathroom by myself, if I'm to, like, see my butt or something, if my butt's in the bathroom with me, that, like, there's this weird voice that is not like my personality, but is just the result of, like, growing up in patriarchy, that's just, like, right there. That part on your body, like, that thing, that's where you're losing worth. I think the thing that is the most spirit dimming and heartbreaking is the idea that even if you do feel powerful, you're not, and you shouldn't, and it's not real. And even if it is, no one will register it, so it's just a lost cause. And that's not true, first of all. But one of the many millions of reasons why I hold the hearing trumpet so dear is that, like, this book is, like, not about plot. It's, like, a very surrealist book, but it has a plot. And if you think about what the plot is, at the end of this book, this incredibly old woman doesn't just save the entire world. She changes where the poles are.
Next, we have Lincoln and the Bardo by George Saunders. I was curious, when you read it for the first time, and was it before or after becoming a mother?
It was before. It's different for me as a parent, and, like, you know, this book is a lot around Lincoln visiting his dead child's grave, but there's other things, you know, that's not really what it's about that, but other things too. But I think, like, when I first started reading Lincoln and the Bardo, and I just was so shocked by the language, it's going to be elegant and deeply intelligent, like intimidatingly intelligent, but also the word poop will be said like 4 times in a row, and it doesn't make this book stupid, and it doesn't make this book a joke, and in fact it made me take the book even more seriously. And I think as a person who, like, wants to talk about like my ancestors and my beloved dead and my more serious emotions or whatever, but I also want to, like, tell jokes about wedgies.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to choose or, like, simplify myself as an artist. It's like, no, she's just a whoopee cushion. She's not, we don't have to take her seriously, which is, like, you know, the number one thing I feel like that also misogynists want is, like, they want to just let themselves off the hook to not have to try to figure it out.
So when I was going back and reading old reviews of Lincoln and the Bardo, the word that I felt, other than brilliant and Booker Prize winning, weird is what came up time and time again. And, you know, your first book is Little Weirds. But I guess I wanted to know what that word meant to you.
I mean, I really appreciate Tim Walz using the word weird in the way that he has to describe J.D. Vance, because I think it's totally true, and it brings it into your own life. Like, you're like, oh, right, like, he's just that guy, You know, like, they're just those guys that we didn't even want to hang out with them. You know, like, we would buy their weed, but we didn't want to have to stay to smoke with them. You know, those guys.
No bowl shared.
Oh my God, those guys were like, you guys want to hang around and smoke a bowl? It's like, you only sell weed so the people will hang out with you. Yeah. You smoke it alone with your Angelina Jolie blacklight poster, you weirdo.
That feels like a very specific
that's a very
memory.
I have that.
I love that and
have that memory. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You smoke your own bowl. I'm good. But I think now that word works for that. But like, I don't feel weird.
You're not weird.
Yeah, but I don't think that I would describe my work that way anymore. Yeah. I think it worked for my work then. But I don't really have a great use for it, except for in the pejorative now.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. But I don't like it when it's used for things that are actually just other than what is in the norm. And, it kind of, I know it shouldn't annoy me, but I think, like, if people are like, oh, your book is, like, really weird, like, there is a part of me that's sort of like, I don't need to know.
Yeah. And I think when I say, I think, when you're the metaphors of just like, calling your grandmother a feather or something. Is that right? That's the what? Yeah, like things like that, which is the delightful little surreal. I mean, honestly, more surrealist than just weird.
Totally. And it's not a bad word. I mean, I genuinely titled my first book Little Weirds. But I think now, more than ever, I don't want to, like, jump up people's butts and, like, please everyone and just, like, make sure everyone knows, like, I'm a good, nice girl. Like, I'm just a nice mommy. There is a part of me that's, like, I also don't think I'm being that weird. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think I just I'm like, reaching for what is normal for me to reach for. And I so desire inclusion. Yeah. But the only way I can do it is through, like, this sort of more surrealist writing. It's, like, the only way I can express myself.
All right, our last book today is The Little Shrew by Akiko Miyakoshi. When did you discover this one, and why did you bring it today?
Oh, my gosh. This book I have read, like, 50 times. And part of that is because it's, like, it is a book for children, so it's easy to read it 50 times. But I just, like, I read to my daughter a lot. Like, she and I read for at least an hour a day. It is, like, the biggest delight. It is the most incredible way to end my day. Like, I have my, like, gluten-free beer, and she has, like, a little glass of apple cider or, like, chocolate milk or something, like, whatever, something like that. And we just sit and read. And so this author wrote a book called A Tea Party in the Woods. It's, like, a big adventure, but the writing is just so spare and so, like, tidy but, like, rich that I was like, oh man, this really calms me down.
Yeah.
And, like, as a, like, ADHD person, like, to feel that way, to feel, like, really regulated is, like, very, very important to me. And so I was looking up, like, what other books were written by this author, and I found Little Shrew, and I was just like, what even could this be? Yeah. And I guess, people who are into ASMR, it feels like that for me.
The way I read it, I was thinking, I had a conversation with a friend recently about learning to be satisfied with enough. And I think what was really profound for me about Little Shrew is that, like, he is so happy with life's simple pleasures. His friend comes to visit once a year, and that's a joyful night.
Totally.
Like, I just was like, for me, the goalpost just is constantly moving, and I just want to be at peace with enough in my existence in the way Shrew is. Is that something you've grappled with?
I get that so much, and I think I used to feel that way before I was an actor. Like, I, like, just was like, this isn't my real life until I can become a professional actor.
Got it.
And I felt like that a lot in my 20s. And then the second that I was able to, like, be hired to be an actor, I started to feel a deep sense of realness, which makes one feel that there is enough. Like, what I think a lot of people, like, we're looking for validation and we're looking for satisfaction, but the, like, really grounding sense of like realness. Like I'm real and this is my life. I'm not like waiting for something to begin. I'm not waiting to be admitted. I'm in it. It's happening. I think some people wait a really long time for that. Like I'm lucky that I think I started to feel that way in a real way like recently, which might also seem sad because I'm 42. So. But it's like I feel very much in there now. And when I read books like Little Shrew or I make work like Marcel the Shell, these are about tiny individuals who completely own their daily processes. And they're not like into it in spite of anything. They're just engaged in their living, and it feels very comprehensive and complete, and there's a lot of respect in there. And I think it's my own way of like either enjoying this or creating a story like Marcel. It's my way of saying like I identify with this because I feel it in my own way. And it's like I think it's the most precious feeling. I really like reading chapter books. Like I love like YA books from the like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Like I just feel really good about it. It's not because I'm like not smart enough to read a book, you know, for an adult, but it's like, what? That's so weird. It's like someone telling you what kind of underpants you should have on or something. It's like, it's my butt. I don't know. Let's just all do our thing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you.
I really appreciated it, and I'm so excited for everyone to read your book.
Me too. Thanks for having me.